So, hey, I'm Christina, Kristina. This is the D. Louise book series. This is where we read books and talk about books. No special effects, no theme music, no special editing. I need to get another tap. Um, And I would hope that you would like and subscribe. It's just me talking books, no special effects, none of that stuff going on here. I just read books and talk about books. And I hope you will hit the like and subscribe. Also, if you could check out my Star Trek Next Generation recaps every Friday, I'd appreciate it. And also, if you could check out Flashback Monday, where I talk about all the books in this magazine each and every Monday. Some weeks I do 50, some weeks 60, some weeks I get carried away and do 80. And she will always be going off. If you want to know her identity, please check out Dirty 30 on New Year's Eve video. Shall we wait? And also my daily book reviews. We are doing James Patterson's Alex Cross series right now. We are doing J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood. We have ended Victoria Thompson's Gaslight series, and we have started C.S. Harris St. Cyr series. So I was thinking about If Then. Welcome to If Then. If you like this author, then maybe you like that author. And I had this little idea, and I thought I would go with it. Oops, I can blow my nose space again. All right. I've had some audio problems. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they're gone. I am so not going to re-record this. It'll break my heart if I have to record this again. So I had this idea the other day, and I'm like, why not? We've done Regencies in the past, and I love Regencies. I spend a lot of time on them when we do Romantic Times book review. And most of these ladies, actually all of these ladies are my authors. I have an entire Regency section over there. This is the paranormal section. The Regency is actually more packed than this is. And instead of Laurel at the top, it's Kenyon. It's really messy over there. There's pictures everywhere, so I can't show it. But it looks just like this, only Regencies, and only there's no blank spots in the Regency section. All the books are stacked high. So I decided, when only a Duke will do. I think I remember that correctly. I should have wrote it down. When only a Duke will do. And there's no reviews with this one. I usually gather up my magazine and read all the reviews, and most of them are at least 4 stars. Once in a while, I'll throw in a 2, or a 3. Most of the time, I will do 4 or 4.5 stars. We will do the occasional 3, and then every once in a while, because it's a big author. The other day we had Daniel Steele. She only got a 2 in the magazine, so I had to read her. And it was 44th Street or something like that. So that I had to do that one. But usually I stick with the 4 and the 4.5 for a Romantic Times book review. So anyway, this is Only a Duke Will Do. And these are my authors. And they're recent books. And as you may or may not know, RT went out of business in 17. They stopped publishing physical books in 16. They did 1 year of electronic, which unfortunately is not available online. I have looked up the yin. If anybody finds it, let me know. So these are books published in the last couple years by my authors that feature a Duke, because only a Duke will do. So, and they're in no particular order. I just stacked them up. And I hate when the cover is blown. Let's see. She caught a flash of Strickland's luminescent eyes, the blue reaching deep inside her as she gazed down at him. Everything else faded. Blood rushed to her ears as his hand slid beneath the veil of her hair to hold her face, his broad palms rasping the tender skin of her cheeks. Thumbs sliding back and forth, he stared at her for the briefest moment, a fleeting clash of gazes. Then he pulled her down to his face. She froze at the shocking sensation of his lips. There was the broadest infinitesimal moment when she considered pushing him away. Then that thought died, and they kissed. Sophie Jordan, the scandal of it all, the Rogue Files. And actually, I got a little carried away when I was at the library, um, because I ended up picking up. There's about 10 or 15 of these that I own, and then a few of them from the library. And I hate when the library puts the barcode over the summary. But I couldn't resist the Duke Hunt. Um, so there's a few of them. Uh, I just got carried away. I'm like, oh, Duke Hunt. And Files. So like I said, I didn't put these in any order when I sat down here. So this is just a hodgepodge, but there's more. Right, I think those are all mine. Yeah, those are all mine. So and I'm a series person. I like series. So let's just go through these. Uh Charlotte Langley, her Kingston's Rachel ways are going to destroy him, and he's vowed to change. His stepbrother's remote estate is just a place for a reformed rogue to hide. The last thing he wants to be is surrounded by society when he gets struck alone with a wallflower who's already betrothed, and she astonishes him with a fiery kiss. Gotta do this again. Excuse me. The Duke Hunt. The scoundrel falls hard. Until repentant rogue Callan Fox's entire existence had been a dangerous game of deception that leads him into a fight for survival and straight for the arms of a tall, fiery beauty. When Gwen protects him from an angry mob of villagers, Callan sees the perfect solution to both their troubles, a marriage in name only that will last a year. Only a marriage of convenience can hide their searing attraction. It glows hotter than Gwen's forge and reaches deeper than the tempting mask Kellen wears for the world. I gotta do this again. I'm gonna need a box of tissues today. The Duke goes down. Sophie Jordan. I had fun. Everyone knows Imogene Bates, the virtuous daughter of the senile vicar. She can write a sermon in a day and spot a rogue in a second, as she sees right through Perry's seductive facade. But Imogene planned to protect the heiress of her beloved shopsire from the erstwhile Duke of Penning, the bane of her existence since childhood, soon turns into something altogether unacceptable for a proper lady. And if you stay tuned to the end, although according to my analytics, you're already gone, but if you stay tuned to the end, we are going to do my number one Duke book at the end. My number one Duke book. Anna McGregor, Rogue Most Wanted. Raised on a remote Scottish estate by her adoring grandfather, Lady Theodora Worth has inherited an earldom as well as the land itself, but when an upstate duke challenges her claim to the title and the Lady Kirk's estate, Thea is suddenly in need of a husband in name at least. An elderly neighbor with a thoroughly modern sensibility and a dashing great-nephew just might be the answer to Thea's prayers, except she has no intention of marrying the first man she meets. That would be utterly ridiculous. Jana McGregor, Rogue Most Wanted. Anna Bennett, When You Wish Upon a Rogue. When Sophie Kendall is happiest arranging the secret meetings of the Debutante Underground, a group of women who come together to discuss the weekly advice column, The Debutante's Revenge. What makes Sophie most unhappy is her impending march down the aisle to a man she does not love, but her family's finances are in increasingly dire straits. He makes an offer she can't refuse. Henry Rees, Earl of Warwickshire, hasn't slept in weeks. Desperate to escape the manor house and his haunting memories, he leaves for one of his abandoned London properties. There he meets a beautiful, intriguing woman trespassing. Reese is far less interested in Sophie's search for a secret meeting spot than he is in her surprising abilities to soothe his demons. Yes, ma'am. Oh, another Bennett. The Duke is but a dream. Miss Lily Hartley is the anonymous mastermind behind the Tun's latest obsession, The Debutante's Revenge, a tell-all advice column for ladies. Lily delivers her weekly columns disguised as a boy, which is well and good until the night she lands in the middle of a tavern brawl and bumps her head. As luck would have it, a devastating handsome Duke sweeps in to rescue her. That's Flashback Monday. Which is see. Yours, Say I Do, yours truly, the Duke, for Amelia Gray. Frederick Hale is caring for her deceased. See, I hate it when they put the things on the back. So I should have looked him up, but I didn't. It was just a spur of the moment. At the top of his game in London, the Duke of Wyatt Haven has no interest in marriage. However, if Wyatt doesn't marry by week's end, he'll lose a sizable inheritance from his grandmother. When Wyatt's solicitor finds Miss Frederick Hale, Wyatt considers this a little hiccup solved. Miss Hale is lovely, intelligent. Most importantly, she prefers country life to London, so he's free to continue his life as usual. But when circumstances force Frederica and the children to show up at the Duke's door, Wyatt can't deny he's always been under her spell. See. Bold lettering on the stiff paper in his hand blurred as the Duke of Wyatt Haven tried to concentrate on the infuriating matter before him, proposing marriage to a lady he never met. That prospect and sharing an overindulgence of brandy throughout the evening with his two friends had him inwardly shuddering with indecision, a feeling that was new to him. In his defense, he had more than adequate reason for the hesitancy. After all, tying himself to a woman for the rest of his life was something he hadn't expected to do for many years to come. So we'll see what happens there. Kathy Maxwell, the Duke that I marry. Not if she's a spinster heiress. They do not settle. Any young miss would be very lucky to find herself promised to a man like the Duke of Camberley. However, Miss Willa Reveley has watched her friends marry for love. Camberley may be the prize of the season, but she will not be sold to any man. She wants devotion or she wants nothing at all. When is a marriage of convenience inconvenient? Newly named to the ducal title, Matthew Addison is determined to discover the secrets behind Mayfield, the bankrupt estate he has inherited. He doesn't have time to cuckold a strong heiress who is determined to ditch him over something silly as love. You got tail? Elizabeth Hoyt, Duke of Desire, a maiden-laden novel. A duke in deepest darkness, cynical, scarred, and brooding, Raphael de Chartres, the Duke of Dymore, has made his personal mission to infiltrate the Lords of Chaos and destroy them. Rescuing Lady Jordan was never in his plans, but now with the Lords out to kill them both, he has but one choice: marry the lady in order to keep her safe. Caught in a web of danger and desire. Much to Raphael's irritation, Iris insists on being the sort of duchess who involves herself in his life and in bed. Lorraine Heath. I have so many of her books. Once Upon a Dukedom. I should have went through and pulled mine. Harboring secrets, Esme Lancaster has her own reasons for wanting to discover who's behind the conspiracy that's still afoot. And a lot people have been telling me I've been relying on older books, so I was trying to do newer books for this if them. She doesn't trust Marcus, but she can't deny the handsome devil makes her wonder if she does indeed possess a heart, one he could very easily steal. As their hunt for the truth leads them into danger, Marcus finds Esme isn't cold and calculating as he assumed, but fire and brimstone with courage and determination to match his own. Soon they're unable to deny their growing passion. Her gaze traveled over him slowly and thoroughly, assessing his merits, causing him to straighten his spine, halting the notion that she might find him lacking in any manner, before she stood striding toward a delicate rosewood sideboard that housed several crystal decanters and an assortment of glass. Marcus Stanwyck, I believe your preference is Scotch. Devil take her for knowing who he was as well as that little truth about him. But it boded well that if his sire had shared those intimate particulars of his heir, then perhaps he also confided the pertinent specifics regarding his nefarious plans. Ah, Julia London, last Duke standing. When Princess Justine of Westlow is sent to England to learn the ropes of royalty, she falls under the tutelage of none other than Queen Victoria herself. Justine's also in the market for a proper husband, one fit to marry the future Queen of Leslora. Because he knows simply everyone, William Lord Douglas, the notorious rakish heir to the Duke of Hamilton's seat in Scotland, and decidedly not husband material, is on hand as an escort of sorts. William has been recruited to keep an eye on the royal matchmaker for the Wesleyan Prime Minister, tasked to ensure the princess is matched with a man of quality and one who'll be sympathetic as the Prime Minister's views. See what happens there. A new author to me. I hadn't seen her before. Jodi Ellen Malpass. Eliza Melrose has always cherished her family. They lived in the countryside, and it was easy to slip out with the morning tide, write articles for her father's newspaper, and otherwise do as she pleased. But now that they have moved to the heart of fashionable London, every move is scrutinized and judged. Worse yet, her father wants her to take proper place in society. Eliza wants nothing to do with marriage, and when the new Duke of Chester moves into his family long abandoned home across the square, her journalistic instincts kick in immediately. Are the rumors true? Did he really kill his family? Is he as rakish as everyone says? The more Eliza finds out, the more she wants to know. E. The view from the drawing room window is not one I am accustomed to. I don't see the rolling countryside and crops growing aplenty. My favorite mare, the blackberry bushes, the cow sheds, the smell. I sniff, getting a whiff of a new aroma. It isn't horse manure or grass, but instead old, moldy, earthy bricks. Okay, that sounded better on the back cover. Ah, Miss Enoch. I have tons and tons of her books. Every Duke has his day. Michael Bromley, Duke of Warrington, has a passion, but it's not for chasing ladies or gambling till dawn. No, his is the far more dangerous pursuit of the science of chemistry. He may be a tad eccentric, but he can navigate a society ballroom and manage a polite conversation if he must. He's certainly capable of taking care of his aunt's perfectly behaved poodle, Lancelot, while she's on holiday. Elizabeth Bitsy Dockwing, third daughter of Viscount, is enjoying her second spectacular season in London. She is a diamond of the season and adored by all, especially her precious black poodle Galahad. Excuse me, NYPSD Eve Dallas has a cat named Galahad. To everyone else, however, Galahad is a demon dog. So much so that Bitsy, most insistently beau and particular victim of Galahad's bad manners, has hired a thief to steal the dog, clearly the way for his suit. No, no, you make friends with the animals. Another new author for me, a lady for a duke, Alexis Hall. When Viola Carroll was presumed dead at Waterloo, she took her opportunity to live at last as herself. But freedom does not come without a price, and Viola paid for hers with the loss of her wealth, her title, and her closest companion, Justin de Vere, the Duke of Gracewood. Only when their families reconnect years after the war does Viola learn how deep the loss truly was. Shattered without her, Gracewood has retreated so far into grief that Viola very recognizes her old friend. It's quite thick there. Usually don't get a Regency that thick. Another lady from my shelves, Eloise James, not that Duke. Bespectacled and freckled, Lady Stella Corsham has a dowry that has attracted a crowd of fortune-hunting suitors, which definitely doesn't include the sinfully handsome Sylvester Parnell, Duke of Huntingdon, who laughingly calls her Specs after he chases her. And then the worst happens. Marriage. Hmm. February 20th, 1816, Mayfair Place, the Duke of Huntington's townhouse. I found your Duchess. Determination was stamped all over the Dowager Duchess' face. Lady Stella Corsham is perfect for you, the granddaughter of a marquise with a sizable dowry, able-bodied, well-bred, and original. In an act of profound self-control, Sylvester Parnell, Duke of Huntingdon, did not roll his eyes. Original is not a characteristic that interests me, he said instead. His mother's eyes sharpened. I suppose you are looking for a girlish nitwit who will entertain ladies for tea and never embarrass her children. Does she have to be a nitwit? Yes, the dowager snipped, adding, because you want her to swill tea all day long. When his parents first married, rather than redecorate the ducal country house as most duchesses did, her Grace had redesigned the chimney on her husband's first experimental steam engine. In the years since, she delighted in flatting society with everything from clothing unconventional to her entertainments. Julius Caesar, performed by rats, was a notable example. Ugh, that lady is weird. Sarah McLean. We have talked about her and Julia McLean for years. Daring and the Duke. I recommend. Oh, we did it. Grace Condrey has spent a lifetime running from her past, betrayed as a child by her only love and raised on the streets. Now she hides in plain sight as Queen of London's darkest corner. Grace has a sharp mind and powerful right hook and has never met an enemy she could not best until the man she once loved returns. Single-minded and ruthless Ewan Duke of Marwick has spent a decade searching for the woman he never stopped loving. A long-ago gamble may have lost her forever, but Ewan will go to any lengths to win Grace back and make her his Duchess. Okay. The Duke Heist. Erica Ridley. Chloe Winchester is completely forgettable, a curse that gives her the ability to blend into any crowd. When the only father she's ever known makes a dying wish for his adopted family of orphans to recover a missing painting, she's the first one of her siblings' turn for stealing it back. No one expects that in doing so, she'll abduct a handsome duke. Okay. Let's see. Let's just run through these. Remember, I said I went bonkers with the Sophie Jordan. The Rogue Files. Constance Sinclair arrives on the Langley doorstep in desperate bid to save the woman who ruined him, the Duchess of Birchwood, only to discover that the vulnerable doctor he expected is a bold and lovely charlatan. These are so cute. The rake gets ravished, the Duke hunt. She would have her way with him. Caught in the act, Mercy must be bold to save herself, even if it means seducing the dangerous rogue and disappearing within the dawn with the debt voucher in hand. Ah, okay. One more, and I actually have this one. Um, Undercover Duke. Along with the step-sibling Sheridan Wolfe, the Duke of Armitage is determined to finally solve the mysteries behind the suspicious deaths of their mother's three husbands. Tasked with investigating a possible suspect, Sheridan finds himself in dangerous proximity to the captivating door, Vanessa Pride. But still haunted by a tragically lost love, the Duke is resolved to resisting the attraction and avoid any shaming husband hunters. Besides, loving Miss Pride seems utterly smitten with a roguish London playwright. Okay. All right. So we're going to save this. We're going to do this one. Okay. So, Gail Callan. Never dare a duke. Only desperation could make her do something so reckless. Only desire could make him risk something so precious. Abigail Shore is a proper young lady, hardly the sort to boldly offer a deal to London's most distinguished and perfect duke. But Abigail, desperate to save her father's newspaper business after a good scandal, she'd have the sensational headlines that would keep the town talking and the family business thriving. If only she could uncover the secrets of Christopher Cabot, the Duke. Cookies. This is a reminder. Cookies. Didn't we just have another one that was a newspaper reporter? Two newspaper reporters in this bunch. Isn't that odd? If only she could uncover the secrets of Christopher Cabot, the Duke of Maddenley. What better way than a pretend marriage? Yet with all his seductive glances and stolen caresses, she somehow has to keep him from succumbing to temptation. Oh. Talk about a reread. Elizabeth Boyle, Mad About the Duke. Madness, the quality or state of being mad. Rage, insanity, extreme folly, ecstasy, enthusiasm. And added in the margins of the dictionary owned by James Tremont, the ninth Duke of Packardton, one additional definition. The state of finding oneself mistaken for a solicitor by a duke-hunting beauty who needs to be enthusiastically taught the true meaning of love. Oh, I love it. I love it. I forgot this was here. I love it. Family Tree. I must have the other ones. We should go through these. I should go get these next four or six are series. And I have the series. I just grabbed the ones with the Dukes though. But quite a few of them have brothers and sisters, that get married in a row, and a Duke is one of them. You'll have to check out I've talked about these series relentlessly, so you'll have to go check out my other podcasts. Is there Suddenly it occurred to Eleanor who he might be, the solicitor Lucy had asked the Duke of Holland Drake to send over. But the man hardly had a townish look to him. Not with that wretched jacket, and goodness heavens, was that a black eye he was sporting? How had she missed that? Only Lucy Sterling would end up with some solicitor who milled about London with his fists. But when she glanced at him again, she wondered how the other fellow had fared. Considering how this tall man was and his width of shoulders, he seemed too imposing not to be able to handle himself. I'll have to see about that. Okay. Gail Callan, the Duke in disguise. The dashing nobleman was hiding a dangerous secret, and loving him would be the most scandalous, perilous, exciting thing Merle had ever done. All right, now, all of these have series. Um, this is book 7 in the Slightly series. So there were siblings that were getting married first. This is a really good series. I love this series. The Bewcastles. And they also have, I'm also gonna thinking about doing a handicapped one too, because one of the lead characters has a handicapped, a permanent broken arm or limb or missing limb. I forget. But I did all these last year. If you want to go check out the Slightly series and the Someone to Love series, they're really good series. Meet the Bedouins, 6 brothers and sisters. So yeah, we've been through the by the time you reach this book, we've been through all the siblings. Um, eh, let's see. All London is abuzz of the imminent arrival of Wulfric Bedwin, the cold as ice Duke of Bewcastle, at the most glittering social event of the season. But on this dazzling afternoon, only one woman would capture his attention, and she was the only female in the room who wasn't even trying. Christine Derrick is intrigued by the handsome Duke, all the more so when he invites her to become his mistress. What red-blooded woman wouldn't enjoy a tumble in the sheets with this consummate lover? With no questions asked and independent beauty, Christine confounds Wulfric at every turn. Yet even as he vows to seduce her, something strange and wonderful happening. Now for a man who thought he'd never lose his heart, nothing less than love will do. Ah, I love that series. I could read it out loud. Uh, Joe Beverly, the Secret Duke. When Bella Barstow is kidnapped and taken to a dour tavern, she believes her life and virtue will be forfeit until she's rescued by the notorious Captain Rose, a man who seems as dangerous to her as the original captive. Convinced the only option is to flee, she steals his horse and disappears into the night. Bella never expects to see Captain Rose again, but years later she learns the wicked truth behind her abduction. Determined to get revenge, she seeks only the ruthless man she knows, the man who rescued her all those years ago. What she doesn't know is Captain Rose was just a disguise for the formidable Duke of Icethorn, who is intrigued to hear from the mysterious woman from his past. So we'll see what happens. These next two you should be very, 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 very familiar with. There are over 30 books in this one series, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 15 of the other. I don't think there's any more. I'll have to double check. There may be some secondary character books out there that I don't know about. But this book you've been seeing on Netflix a lot. And if you go back and check my very, very first If Then, we talked about this author. If you like this author, then you like Catherine Coulter Sherbrooks. And I would have included Sherbrooks, but he's an Earl, so I didn't. But Douglas actually should belong in this group. I love Douglas Sherbrooke is an Earl though, so I didn't include him, but he should be included. But go check out the very first If Then I Did, If Then number one. If you like Julia Quinn's Bridgertons, then you like Joanna Lindsay's Mallory's, Catherine Coulter Sherbrooke's, um, Joe Beverly's group, Mary Baylow's group. Um, if you haven't heard of the Duke of Hastings and Daphne Bridgertons, all the society papers say so, but only the Duke of Hastings and his attendant know the truth. For the irresistible Simon Bassett has hatched a plan to keep himself free from all those marriage-minded society mothers by pretending an attachment to the lovely Daphne Bridgerton. After all, it isn't as if the brooding rogue has any real plans to marry, though there is something about the alluring mist that sets Simon's heart beating a bit faster. This is a good series. It's on Netflix. The books are better though. I will tell you right up front, the books are better. And I have all the books in this series. The books are better. All right, we are ending with my final book, my favorite book, my number one Duke. There's 9 in the original siblings, and then we go on to external friends. Then we go on to the Bastion Club. Then we go on to the Black Cobra Quartet. Then we go on to the Buccaneers. And we have over 30 books in the series. We've even done a couple of flashbacks. The Devil's Bride. I love my Sinsters. I love my Sinsters. This is my number one Duke of all time. And I will confess to you that we waited literally 20 years. I'm absolutely serious. 20 years. I was glad I was still alive to read it. I'm not sure if the publisher uh, uh, pressured her or if the fan pressure was too much and we pestered her for years. Could she please do this book? And I didn't bring it down, but we were waiting for the kids' book, and it was the worst book she'd ever written. Absolutely serious. I had nightmares over it for a really, really long time. I was so upset and disturbed that the kids' book was so horrible. The Sinsters, the Bastion Club, the Black Cobra, and the Buccaneer. Some of those books are extraordinarily 10 stars. To write 4 books that happen simultaneously, that the character from this book is talking with character from the next book at the same time in the book, and to make them sequentially match up both books so the timelines flow together, took an amazing amount of talent. And I talked about Stephanie Lawrence a couple of times already in these podcasts. And I could talk about him forever. I could talk about him again, just like Laurel up there. But you start off with the Devils, and it's a 2-parter. The Rogue Vane's book is think Vane's book is the second one. But this is an awesome series to get into. It's a really good series. They all deserve four stars each all the way through. The Bastion Club comes next, and then the Black Cobra Quartet you got to give 5 stars to, and the Buccaneer you've got to give 5 stars to, because those books are thick. Those books are thick, and the fact that the timeline in all 4 books coincides with, it's just amazing how she does it. But so our final Duke is the Devil, Sebastian Saint Ives. When Devil, the most infamous member of the Sinister family, is caught in a compromising position with the plucky governess Honoria Weatherby, he is astonished the entire time by offering his hand in marriage. No one dreamed that a scandalous rake would ever take a bribe, and as society mama swooned at the loss of England's most eligible bachelor, Devil's infamous sinister cousins begin to place wagers on the wedding date. I love this series. And there's your little family tree. It's actually huge on her website with all the, as the books proceed, you get the title of the book that they appear in. Somersham, Cambridgeshire, August 1818. And I love the guy that does the audiobooks too. He does, did he do the Black Brotherhood? No, maybe he does those. Maybe he does Kenyans. No, I forget. But I know the guy does a couple of different of my authors. The Duchess is so very, very well, really most charming. So, with an angelic smile, Mr. Postwithal, the vicar of Somersham, gestured airily, continentally, if you take my meaning. Standing by the vicarage gate while she waited for the gig to be brought around, Honoria Weatherby only wished she could wringing information from the local vicar was always one of her first actions on taking upon a position. Unfortunately, while her need for information was more acute than usual, Mr. Postlethwaite's comments were more unhelpfully vague. She nodded encouragingly and pounced on the one point which might conceivably mean something. Is the Duchess foreign born? Dowager Duchess. She likes to be called that now, but foreign, head to one side. I suppose some might call her so. She was French born and bred, but she's been amongst us so long, she seems a part of our landscape indeed. She's something of a feature on our limited horizon. That much Honoria gleamed. It was one reason she needed to know. Does the Dowager Duchess join the congregation here? I haven't seen any ducal arms about. Glancing at the neat stone church behind the vicarage, she recalled numerous commemorative inscriptions honoring the deceased from various lordly houses, including some scions of the Claypoles, the family whose household she joined last Sunday, but no ducal plaques. Helpfully, she inscribed the name and title, but she discovered anywhere else. On occasion, Mr. Postwell replied, but there's a private church at the place. Quite beautifully appointed. Mr. Merriweather is chaplain there. The Duchess is always reliable in her devotions. He shook his head sadly. Not, I'm afraid, a general characteristics of that family. Honoria resisted a strong urge to grind her teeth. Which family? She'd been chasing that information for the past 3 days. Given that her new employer, Lady Claypole, seemed convinced that her daughter Melissa, now Honoria's charge, was destined to be the next Duchess, it seemed the course of wisdom to learn what she could of the Duke and his family. The family name would help. And she doesn't learn. And then when she meets him, his name is Devil, and she doesn't find out until after she spent the whole night with him who he is. I love these books. I could sit here and read the entire thing to you. I hope you have found a Duke to dig your heels in. And these are my authors. I love these ladies. I love these ladies. Check out the Bridgertons. Check out my ladies. You know, the worst thing, the fun part is gathering all these books up. The worst part is putting them all back. Because if I don't put them back in their proper spot, then I won't find them again. Besides the fact that they go alphabetically by author. That's how all my books are arranged. In sections by author. This is paranormal. Regency is over there. And then we have my mystery authors have their own section too. So if you could please hit the like and subscribe and let me know I'm doing a good job, I'd really appreciate it. And we can do the devil forever. Have a good one.